Italy's back, says a new campaign launched by Italy's finance minister this week. And with growth finally returning, things are certainly looking up for the Eurozone's third largest economy. But is this spur of growth sustainable? Discussing this with me today is Pier Carlo Padoan, Italy's finance minister. So, Minister, we have around 1% growth this year, but is this just down to quantitative easing by the European Central Bank and low oil prices, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. Of course, QE helps all euro area countries. But what is seen in Italy is, in my view, the additional impact of measures taken by the government in the structural domain through, for instance, the Jobs Act, and in the fiscal domain through fiscal benefits for hiring for open-ended contracts. We are seeing a job-rich recovery, which adds not only to short-term demand, but also to long-term growth potential.
Let's have a look at your budget, which you've just passed for 2016, sweeping tax cuts, and in particular this cut to the housing tax, which your former colleagues at the OECD this week said probably wasn't a priority. You should have probably done more to cut labor taxes. How do you address that criticism?
Well, in two grounds. First of all, this is not the only tax cut. We have cutting taxes starting in 2014 on labor, on investment benefits, and of course also on housing, so that both households and companies benefit from lower taxes across the board, and we will continue in 2017 and beyond. In the specific point of view, the taking away the tax on main dwellings for households impacts positively on 80% of the population. 80% of Italians own the house they live in. So this is a great relief for all kinds of households, including low-income households, and therefore adds to confidence and to domestic consumption.
The other criticism to your budget is on spending cuts, which some people say it's a bit too light, and one of the Prime Minister's advisors on spending cuts has decided to leave his job. When can we expect meaningful spending cuts in Italy by your government?
We have been having meaningful spending cuts in the previous year budget law, and this year budget law will amount as much as 8.5 billion savings through more efficient spending cuts and measures. And we will continue doing so. So it's a bit less than targeted, but the spending review implementation continues. And let me say that we value greatly technical suggestions and advice by many economists, but then there is a political decision that has to be taken.
And finally, one big problem for Italy is long-term productivity. Now, your government has introduced a bold labour market reform, but on the product market, there seems to be more progress which could be done. There was a law passed through Parliament, but critics say you could have been a lot more incisive in terms of attacking closed shops and corporations. When are you going to do that?
Well, we're doing many things in addition to the labour market reform which would help long-term productivity. We are providing strong incentives for companies to invest in knowledge, in innovation, through tax incentives, regulatory simplification, and financial incentives. We are putting in place a program for the broadband, which is it's a basic infrastructure which a country needs to be more effective in long-term productivity. And also in competition law, we are moving in the right direction with some resistance, but I think this is physiological.
And a final question on the future of the Eurozone. You've been pushing for a common unemployment benefit scheme. Is that realistic? Do you see that happening? Any more steps moving towards closer integration in Europe?
The Euro integration process is moving fast on completing the banking union. My point is very simple. Alongside banking and finance, the euro area requires measures to boost the real economy and job creation. And it is very well known that in a monetary union, where there's no exchange rate to adjust labor markets, labor market and employment insurance mechanisms are essential for providing additional risk sharing, which is needed for the monetary union to work better.
Minister Padoan, thank you very much.
Thank you.